Hey guys, how's it going? Haven't done a live in a minute. Thought I would just sketch before dinner. The studio is really warm right now. I don't know if you guys can hear the fan or at least see the fan in the background. And so I got my iPad over here on the screen. I'm going to make it big, and so I'm going to probably disappear off the screen. I'm going to draw with the iPad and the Apple Pencil. Give it a shot, just kind of sketching. I'm going to have it open up for questions if you guys want to ask anything. Hopefully this is going so that people can see it. Cool. Let's just see how this goes. It'll be fun. Cool. So here's the full screen. I'm going to make myself a little bit smaller over here. And so we're using this paper that I have. It's a paper texture that I got for doing some animation stuff on the iPad, and I thought it'd be cool to use that as a background for sketching. And so for my layers here, I have on my layer 1, I have the paper, and above that I have the layer that I'm going to be drawing on. We'll see how this goes. Yeah, so my pencils, same as before. I've actually been exploring different ideas with painting. It's been kind of fun to try out using color. I'm all into this idea now in the studio where I'm playing with color on top of color and transparency within different things. And so I'm trying to use that on the iPad to kind of test things. Like what would a blue look scumbled over a red iron oxide on the iPad? And so I think I'm going to do some studies of some paintings that I really love, but do them on the iPad. And so I'm just fooling around with that right now. So I had the iPad out, and I thought I'd just do a live sketch, kind of showing you guys the method of the CAM method a little bit with a skull, placement and composing, and then anchoring something within the drawing, and then measuring out the CAM. And so I thought it'd be fun to just do a skull, because someone was asking me about anatomy before. So I thought it'd be neat to just kind of knock this out, really thinking about the shapes of the skull and how they're linked and united. And so awesome. If you guys have any questions out there, feel free to ask. I'm going to use like almost a black but slightly brown color on here. I'm using my Derwent pencil, and my Derwent pencil is also my eraser. And I have the size all the way up to 100, and my opacity I'm going to make probably around 40%. Hopefully I'm on high contrast for seeing the icon on here, because everyone always says that they can't see where my that pencil is right on the screen. And so I'm going to try, if I put my pencil like sideways like this, it does it really big, but if I do something small, it gets really tiny, and it's hard to see on mobile devices, and I apologize up front. I'm going to try to do my best with that. So I was thinking about doing a skull kind of in profile, maybe 3/4, something we don't usually see all the time. And I'm going to base it after a skull. I have it on my screen over here. I'm going to use as my basis for, let me see if I can show you guys that before I start. I know you guys would want me to start and everything. So I'm going to base everything off of this skull right here. And so it's a drawing that I did for a guitar. And so I wonder if I can put this over top of here. I'm in the way. Here we go. So we'll just have that there, and you guys don't have to see me. Or maybe I can make myself really small somewhere. Even smaller. Hold on, let me just change. I can probably change the picture-in-picture size square. That didn't help. Maybe a little bit. I'll just cancel myself. I don't need to be on screen. Awesome, guys. So again, any questions out there, feel free to ask. So starting out with this idea of the CAM method, let me slide this over so I can do this skull in the middle here. Okay, cool. So we want to figure out where the top of our skull is, where kind of the chin is going to be, and we kind of just block out where our concept of where our placement is going to be, right? So we have this long kind of neck kind of deal. We got, so these are kind of my searching lines, kind of expressive, not really too perfectly observed yet. I'm going to move this up here. It's not going to be actual size either that we see on the screen. So So thinking about the skull, so I feel like we have like this kind of movement where we have this frontal cranial aspect, right? Where kind of the brain kind of sits, and the frontal eminence over here. We're going to kind of think about that, how that pulls in. At this stage, we're going to kind of also, since we got it kind of placed here pretty well, we're going to kind of block in where our center point is going to be. And so for what I usually use within figures is the eye socket or the orbital cavities. And so our orbital cavities, I'm imagining, are going to be probably around here somewhere, right? I like this brown a lot. It's kind of neat color. And so I'm noticing that shape kind of looks like almost like a fish. Like, what is this kind of orbital cavity kind of shape that we have? Let's just kind of knock that in. Think about where the orbital cavity is on this side, right? Right? And so that's our anchor point. So that gives us our width for the most part and our height. And so from here, we're going to kind of use this to measure out from. So as we kind of measure out, see, we don't have a nose at all. So I'm thinking, what would the bottom part of the nose be? And coming down here, I don't love that line. We have this line through here. I'm going to draw a little bit lighter, thinking about a plumb line here of how this part is kind of connected to the eye in that shape right there. And then we have the zygomatic arch, the cheekbone. I try not to use fancy Latin terms to describe things because we're not medical doctors here, we're draftsmen. I want you guys to kind of understand what it is we see before we actually, I don't really care if we know what the actual name is, per se. So thinking about the whole idea that this, I'm going to put a different layer in here to kind of give you guys the concept of what I'm thinking, right? So thinking this kind of frontal, almost like Cobra Commander idea, right? This is kind of the whole front facial muscles. Then we have this kind of structure on the back of the skull, which is attached to it. Just really simple, basic kind of shapes. And where the spinal cord is going to be. Yeah, it's a lot thinner than I had it originally. Thinking about that as well. And so we're going to take that layer and just keep it a little bit lighter, but that's going to be kind of a good basis for us to understand what it is we're sketching, right? I don't want to really go into detail at all here. Just kind of keeping today pretty light and chill. Maybe do like 20, 30 minutes of sketching for you guys. So again, that CAM method, right? So we got our eyes, which in this case, because we're looking at it from a certain angle, it's really interesting. So proportions are always the first chapter of a book on drawing. People talk about proportions. And for me, it's really interesting. Proportions, there's some proportions, but they're all based upon these classical idealist kind of things. Like maybe the head is 3.5 heads high from the top of the head to the midpoint of the body. Or, you know, there's all these different measurement points. And everybody's always different, though. They never really conform to those proportions. And so it always would frustrate me in books. Also, we're not looking directly on a lot of the people that we paint, like directly eye to eye, exactly. So they're not looking straight at you. There's curves. You're looking at it from below, from the subject from below. When I was in class, it just depended on wherever your spot was in the classroom, right? And so it's always kind of different. Oh, I'm drawing with the eraser here. Oops. We're on the right layer. Anyway, so we're always seeing things from a different perspective anyway. So how do we draw without using kind of proportions as our guide? And that's just training your eye to be able to see different lengths. Like, what's the length between here and here, right? What's that length? What is the height of from here to here, right? How does that come in? And so it's literally taking something that we have as our anchor, for me at least, that I've noticed that this works, is measuring out from our anchor point and kind of linking everything onto that anchor. So I know if like the head looks good, it looks okay. It could come in just a little bit more, I'm thinking, from that edge, whereas the top of the crown of the head could come more like that. And so the idea is that we're constantly, everything I put into a drawing in the very beginning is a guesstimate. It could be too long, I feel, maybe right here. This could be a little bit longer or shorter. The idea is that because we have the eyes kind of set up in the middle-ish, right? It's a little bit towards the top here because we're looking from below on the subject. The having things connected to the eyes, right? This kind of structure from here to here helps us to figure out what the width is from maybe here to here, here to here. And so it gives us what I call these little guideposts, these little movements in between these structures to be able to triangulate distances. And if this is too long, it gives me like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different points to measure to try to get correct. And I find that very, very valuable within sketching the proportions. I feel like the videos that do pretty well on here are the proportion videos and the drawing videos and the alla prima videos. If you guys have any ideas for videos you'd like me to do, it'd be awesome to hear from you guys in the comments. Again, also, if you like this content, please like and subscribe. I'm trying to do videos that are helpful and low maintenance in the studio. Trying to basically just cover everything that I'm working on in my studio. So I'm working on color, and we just did a demo in St. Louis, or not in St. Louis, in Springfield, Missouri, and we had a blast. And so I recorded that demo and put it on here that I did for my class. I'm thinking about doing some more sketches, some more alla prima sketches as well, and just more sketching like this. This is kind of fun to hang out. Hey, how's it going? I don't know how to pronounce your name. IJ, the rooster on there. I know people also tell me I shouldn't comment on everybody's comments on here. So now we have this kind of zygomatic arch, right? How it kind of curves forward, comes down a little bit, and the other areas within contrast on our model is this kind of structure of the mandible, right? And so our mandible, if we keep it very, very simple, right? Just keep it very, very, keeping it just what is that shape doing to that shape? Hey, Brian, how's it going? And then kind of what are we doing with just kind of with the teeth? Like, what is the line for the teeth? That looks kind of weird. Maybe that's right. Maybe that's wrong. So again, we use this kind of idea of linking areas into one another. I'm thinking this space looks a little bit more like a triangle right through there. That looks pretty good. This comes down and over. And so what I'm doing is I'm squinting and simplifying what it is I'm seeing. And at the same time, I'm kind of seeing how that puzzle piece that's flat and two-dimensional is related to everything around it, right? So this is very, very, very much about that idea of what we were talking about with the sketching of comparative measurement, where we have one area, just a shape, and we're just trying to compare what our shape, like right through here, right? So that shape compared to the shape on our model, it looks a little off. And I think that I want to come in and maybe think about shaping that out a little bit more here. That comes down. And then we always use those straight angular lines, right? Because they're a little bit more accurate. They're a lot more accurate than if we were to use curved lines. And the way that forms work is that there'll be a curve, but we want to break our line quality, our line condition at different points, so that they can be a little bit more accurate. I'm going to come in, just erase away a little bit here, checking that the chin. And so we're linking basically the mandible now onto the rest of the skull. So we had that kind of frontal face part that was like the shield that holds all the facial muscles on there. And then we're thinking about how basically the motorcycle cap, the cranium, attaches onto that structure, as well. And also just kind of thinking about the measurements of what these large masses are doing, as if we're kind of sculpting and putting things onto the place that they fit within the skull, not the portrait this time. I almost said portrait. If you guys have any questions out there, feel free to ask them. And if you have any questions in the comments, feel free to ask them in the comments. My channel is so small. It's great. I can actually hopefully respond to most of the comments that are left for me. I'm going to fill this area in. I'm going to come up here just a little bit more. There we go. Just kind of keep it simple. Think about that kind of how this is attached. It's kind of cool. Not going to get really into shading much. Just going to want to think about structure today with you guys. How this comes up. Thinking about how this is curved, right? Pretty awesome to think about the kind of sculptural qualities. A little bit of form in there as well. Thinking about how we see a little bit of the brow ridge as well. Right through here. I'm going to come in, just erase away just a little bit to simplify. Hopefully you guys can see the... I hope you guys can see that. Soften up this edge just a little bit. Now everything I'm doing is pretty much on one layer. Cleaning up some of the edges. Now, how do we get into kind of the smaller stuff? Now, even at this stage, I kind of, when I'm thinking about this in the model, when I'm in the studio, is I kind of really want to simplify some of those lines. Do you balance a drawing from the top down, or just balance where you see something? Basically from the top down. Oop, Shayna's calling. I think dinner's ready. And I can't answer her because I am on my phone as the camera, which I'm not actually using right now. Hold on one second, guys. I think dinner's ready. That's a great question, though, Christy, about balancing what I see. What I try to do is, again, link things onto within a portrait on the eyes. I tend to use them as because there's, for the most part, they're a very large structure that's in the center. And linking the eyes and orbital cavity to the underplane of the nose is something that I've kind of been taught, and it's a way of balancing everything. I like that you use that word balance. So the jaw, the frontal plane of the jaw, frontal plane of this as well, of the maxilla, right there comes through. What's going on with the full scope of the form. Again, not really thinking about the teeth. Okay, guys. So that's my quick demo. Dinner's ready. So, hey BA, how's it going? Sweet day here in New Mexico. Yeah, New Mexico is great right now. It's really beautiful. It's so warm. I have my the fan on and the door. So you have kind of the structure of the neck. Awesome, guys. So that was a quick little demo drawing for you guys. My dinner is ready, and I'm gonna see you guys on the next one. Again, if you guys like this content, I'm just gonna leave this here and ask questions, and I'd love to answer them. And I'll go back to me real quick. Awesome, guys. I'll see you guys later. I'm gonna go have dinner now, and hope you guys have a great evening. Again, if you like this content, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next live. Maybe I'll do a live tomorrow or something. So we just made it about 20 minutes. Awesome, guys. Take care, and I'll see you guys later. Cheers.